Hi, how are you? Good. How are you doing this evening? We got a little water from the spring. It's good for everything. Good.
Yes, we do.
As long as there aren't any flowers.
I'm going to get a new seat.
We're talking and
Cornstalk. Little turtle. Blue jacket. Tecumseh. George Washington.
Lewis Davis. Elisha Mills. Horace Mann.
Rebecca Pennell.
Wheeling Gaunt.
Moncure Conway.
James Neff.
Irene Hawes. Hugh Taylor Birch.
Simeon Beck.
Arthur Morgan. Olympia Brown.
Toshiko Asakawa.
Louis Gager.
Jean Barlow Hudson. Virginia Hamilton.
James Dixon.
James McKee. Jane Trolander. Sean Sellers. Harold Blackwell.
William Mills.
David Carroll.
Bill Chappelle. Tyler Lucky. Louise Smith. Bill Houston.
Alice McKinney. Nan Harshaw. John Ellen Guest. Phyllis Jackson.
Our story is like a spring. We know where it begins.
The end is still to come.
Our story is like a spring. Always the same, ever changing. It begins at the beginning.
And so we begin.
Ladies and gentlemen, step right up and take a look at the choicest little piece of property you'd ever want to find. And guess what, folks? It's for sale. That's right. The Yellow Springs are for sale, folks. They could be yours for the buying. Natural wonder. The Indians can tell you all about it. They've known for years. Step right up and take a closer look. You can put your head right under and take a drink if you want. Clean as a whistle. Cleanest water you'll ever find. Or my name isn't Ellis Pond. That's right, folks. Ellis Pond. Notice the beautiful, bold, limpid water which flows down the face of the hill. See how it leaves a sediment, the color of a half-burnt brick. That's because it's strongly impregnated with iron and calcareous earth. Now, this water is a natural cure. It can be used in rheumatism and eruptions of the skin as a cathartic and a diuretic. Are you tired? Stressed out? Wondering what it's all about? This This water will cheer you right up. Make you want to say hello to your neighbor. It cures cynicism and pessimism. Stimulates the imagination so the ideas start flowing like the spring itself. It makes you not give a hoot about keeping up with the Joneses. Fancy cars, fancy clothes. One drink of this, and you'll be healthy the rest of your life. If you drink plenty of this water, you'll never get sick. It gives out a general glow of warmth to the whole system. Come on, folks, step right up and feel that glow.
This water's like nothing I've ever tasted.
Clearly unique.
It tastes a bit rusty to me.
Nonsense! Those are minerals! Healthful minerals!
A curious taste. Hard to describe.
Why, this water is? What is this water?
This water is esteemed to be peculiarly salubrious.
Peculiarly salubrious, singular and curious, glowing with light and calcerous, refreshingly glorious,
Invigorating, exhilarating, rejuvenating, intoxicating.
wonderfully zestful, marvelously vital.
Undoubtedly helpful, extremely unusual.
This water cures, this water's pure, this water soothes, this water moves. Ever renewing, forever beginning, it begins again and again. Always the same and never changing, from where is it originating? Peculiarly salubrious, singular and curious, lovely with light and calcium, refreshing and glorious, refreshingly glorious, refreshingly glorious.
I want to live here! That's it! I'm buying!
Settle as you wish. Let's have a toast. To the spring!
To the spring! To the yellow spring!
I told you this water could do amazing things. That's all it takes, folks. A town is born. The town is on a scale the most liberal and calculated to combine elegance of design with public convenience. In other words, there's plenty of room for everybody. Everyone's welcome. Welcome and free. Free thinkers, freed slaves, free enterprise, and free love. All denominations and all walks of life walking on these new gravel streets that Judge Mills was so kind to put in for us. Just as long as you're not too snooty. Snootiness will not be tolerated in Yellow Spring. Looks like we have a new owner of the Springs, folks. May I introduce to you Mr. Elisha Mills.
I, Elisha Mills, wish to inform my friends and the public that I have become the new owner of the celebrated watering place known as the Yellow Spring.
Congratulations, Elijah! Let's drink a toast! What year is it?
1827!
To 1827!
Now, hold on. Having since the close of last season made extensive improvements, I feel confident in informing both my friends and the public that everything that may contribute to the welfare of visitors has been anticipated.
Hooray for you!
I wish to inform ladies and gentlemen that regular dancing parties will take place 2 times a week. Tuesday and Saturday. By Madam H. Gilbert, professor of dancing in Cincinnati. So, everyone enjoy yourselves.
Ladies and gentlemen, shall we review our dance from last week?
Of society. Now, one that is fair and just for all people, not just a few. The rich should sell all they have and give it to the poor. Now, we should live close to nature, returning ourselves to our true natural state.
Oh, that sounds messy.
In other words, they want to live off us.
These are a bunch of worthless creatures who have brought neither capital nor inclination to work.
Yes, and they owe me money.
Hey, they owe me money too.
Man cannot live on bread alone. We bring new ideas, a new way of life.
A new system, friends. Why don't you try working for a system? Find a job. It appears as if we're not welcome here.
Here's to working for a living!
We retain our faith in the system but are unable to meet our obligations.
I'm working hard for my money. I think you ought to work too.
Here comes some more, though. The Methodists, Episcopalians, Quakers, and Presbyterians. Hard-working farmers and tradesmen. Now this is more like it. From a Dr. and Mrs. T.L. Nichols. Here's what it says. We have leased the Yellow Springs Water Cure for 5 years. We will be forming a school of the Progressive Union for health, education, for mental spiritual and physical development, and a preparation, internal and external, for the true life of harmonic society. To this establishment, we give the name the Memnonia Institute. We believe in freedom, daily penance, and frequent bathing.
Who are they? Why, don't you know? It's that new free love colony they've started in the Glen. It's a whole bunch of free thinkers, if you know what I mean. They have a different kind of system. Huh.
Shown the way when it comes to civic responsibility and moral values.
Oh, now, Elijah, you're making us look like a whole bunch of stuffed shirts. We do know how to have fun, too. Like there's New Year's Eve downtown, and there's the 4th of July fireworks. There's Gabby Day, and the street fair. There's the Presbyterian Strawberry Festival. And the Baptist calendar tea. Oh, those hats the ladies wear. Oh, lovely. And don't forget the Halloween parade and the Lincoln Day celebration in the Opera House.
Yes, Mrs. Johnson. Lincoln Day is always very special.
And Shakespeare.
Use a fire that would burn the price.
Excuse me, ma'am. I believe that you have the wrong century.
Oh, really? What year is it?
Sometime in the 1870s.
How unusual. How early?
Now, ladies and gentlemen, I would like to take this opportunity to announce. Step aside, Father. We have some real developing to do. And here comes something to really get us somewhere. The railroad!
Judge Mills, we got to have a talk with you.
Well, of course, my fellow citizens. I've always said that arguing with the mob is a fine display of civil discourse.
You've been sounding off some real crazy talk lately.
Right.
Well, by crazy talk, I assume you mean my vision for this community.
You call it progress. We call it trouble.
Right. Now, progress and trouble are not necessarily one and the same, ma'am. The future is here. Embrace it. A railroad will be built to link together Cincinnati and Columbus. A railroad will bring Yellow Springs closer to the world.
If we wanted to be closer to people from Cincinnati, we'd move to Cincinnati. We want the village to change. We like it the way it is. Don't change the way it's not rough.
Now, this isn't a change. It's an improvement. Don't you think the roads were a good idea?
Got it there. The roads are good.
Now, we could be so much more than we are. Perhaps we could even build a school.
Now hold your horses, Judge. First you put in roads, then you want a railroad. Now a school? What do you want next? A solid gold palace.
Now, progressive communities believe in education. Perhaps we could convince a college to come here.
Talk, Judge. That's it. No railroad.
Well, you best reconsider. The railroad company is deciding right now whether to put the tracks through Yellow Springs or Clifton. Well, Clifton will have the railroad if we don't get together on this.
Clifton has everything! Hill, fancy new shoes. We deserve to have the railroad.
Clifton getting it over us.
I think we're finally in agreement. And here it comes!
Here we have the means of making you very comfortable for your stay at the Springs or remodeled hotel with 100 rooms all for you fine ladies and gentlemen. And then of course there's the water treatment, our orchards, the rivers, so many things.
Ladies and gentlemen, I've just recently purchased this property and it's going to be better than ever. Welcome to Neff House. Now this is a southern house in the northwest for southerners. It's 4 stories high with a 3-story porch that hugs 2 sides of the wall. Ain't she pretty? Now we have 246 rooms, enough to accommodate everyone and then some. Plus 11 private parlors, a main parlor 45 by 75 feet, an 156-foot long dining room, and did I mention we're completely self-sufficient with our own dairy, our own orchard, and our own garden. Taste this apple, ain't she good?
Mommy, where are all the people going?
I don't know, dear. The South House in the Northeast is closing up, and the South lost the war and they can't afford to come here anymore. I'm afraid the Northerners are going elsewhere. Come on, it looks like it's about to rain.
Is it time to begin?
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Cabaret Horace. Although I don't kind of need any introduction, but for those who may not remember me, my name is Horace Mann, and I will be your host for the evening. Tonight, we have for you history as satire, significant events as theatrical folderol, actors as teachers, or is it teachers as actors? I never did that right. Adversity as pratfalls, due process as a comedy act. So, ladies and gentlemen and ladies, without further ado, please help me welcome Mr. Antiochiana, and the Antiochiana is here to present for you the first 150 years of Antioch. Give it a hand.
Thank you, Horace. It is great to be here.
Good to have you.
What year is it?
1853.
I can't hear you. What year is it?
1853.
Okay, one more time with help. Come on, folks, give me a hand.
How
What
about?
year is it?
1853.
reports it was in October 1853 that this man, my hero, Horace Mann, delivered his marathon inaugural address of 27,000 words. 2 hours he spoke before 3,000 people. That was twice the entire population of the village at the time. Why such a big crowd? It's 1853. What else are they gonna do? They said that the speech had enough inspiration to make a college flourish in the Sahara, which is fine, but this college needed cash. Antioch opened in debt, but there was inspiration. Horace set such massive standards for admission that only 13 people passed the entrance exam. Do the math! Then there was his code of conduct. No drinking, no smoking, no swearing, no girls, no boys, no fun. Who'd want to go to a school like that? They said 1881. Oh boy, time sure flies. It was 1880 and we had graduation in the class of 1880 even though there were no graduates. Now, I'm running out of time. It's too bad I can no longer talk about how in 1863 we closed and then in 1865 we got an endowment finally thanks to the Unitarians who took us over for a little while and how our baseball team lost to the Cincinnati Reds 41-7. I don't need these anymore. 1900. So, there was inspiration, there was aspiration, but there was no money. Yeah, Simeon Fess, that man had inspiration. The Saturday Evening Post called him the man who put the Fess in professor. His Chautauquas draw 22,000 people a time or two into this town, but not too many students. By World War I, Antioch needed a training unit from the Army just to stay open. And then in 1919, the YMCA, they offered to buy the whole shooting match, and the board said, here, take it without seeing a dime. But it turned out the Y didn't have any money either, so we got our college back. And then Arthur Morgan became president, and he saved the school by introducing an opening plan of working.
Excuse me?
Yes?
Well, I'm an alum. I'm here for the reunion. I just want to remind us to please accentuate the positive.
This is history we're doing here. We don't accentuate, we educate.
Well, all you're educating me about is the negative things or the bad things that happened at Antioch. But, you know, a lot of good things happened too. I mean, we had Horace Mann as our president. He was a very important guy in higher education at the time. And then we had the first woman professor in the country, Rebecca Pinnell. And we admitted African Americans from the very beginning of our time. And not only that, we have cooperative education. Arthur Morgan, we finally talked about him. And then there was the SOPP, that's the Sexual Offense Prevention Policy. Very nasty about that on Saturday Night Live. But I mean, you know, we're a very, very unique and interesting institution. We are one of the colleges that changes lives. Now, I know it changed my life. When I went here, I've never been the same since.
Yes, we get that a lot around here. I suppose it's a very positive place.
Well, it is, and so I wish you would just talk about the good things instead of all the bad things like, you know, lack of students and debt and financial, you know.
Well, I'm also an Antiochian. I never talk about anything positive. Besides, history repeats itself.
Well, that's true. History does repeat itself. We have had a lot of financial, you know, financially we're a little bit done. And then
you can say that again.
There you have it, folks. Democracy at work right before your very eyes.
But it's still a great place.
Yes, thank you, alum, for accentuating positive, bringing out positive. Thank you, Mr. Antioch, for bringing out all of the other stuff. See, folks, we can agree to not agree. That's the American way. Or is it not agree to agree? I always mess that up too. But no matter, folks, because as a matter of fact, I think you're going to love this next task. Talk about accentuating the positive. Ladies and gentlemen, please give a big warm Antioch welcome to the Antioch Cheerleading Squad!
Oh, we are the Antioch
for total education. It is for national inspiring. It is for over the top. It is for community. It is for Horace.
Horace, man, he's a man, he's a fucking president. Horace, man, he's the one that got everybody all begun. Yay,
My dreams for the college. My dreams for the college. Oh. Everybody, dance.
He informs me with firm purpose in his voice that one ought to teach a dog to whistle as teach a woman to speak Greek.
And you responded with a logical, precise rebuttal to this claim.
Of course I did.
In Greek.
Of course I did.
You are a wicked thing.
Abigail, you were at a dance once with that gentleman this evening. You've been glancing at him all evening.
We have been formally introduced. He is Mr. Marion Ross. He is an Antioch student. I attend lecture with him. He just transferred here from Yale. That's why you think him a summer resident.
All the same, if you don't stop being so bold with Mr. Ross, the Dean of Women will escort you home personally. A report of your improper behavior will be on the president's desk first thing in the morning. She is looking at you now.
I will give her no grief. She is the most wonderful chaperone in the world.
Falls asleep by 9 o'clock, doesn't wake up till the music stops.
Too proud to admit it, she writes nothing but positive reports to the president for the time she is asleep.
Well, she's not asleep yet, so you and your Mr. Ross had better mind your P's and Q's. Your dance card is quite full.
But with whom? Don't judge the quantity, judge the quality. Mr. Rice.
A southern gentleman.
Probably a slave owner. I'm a strong abolitionist. The next dance is to Mr. Wolfen.
An older gentleman whom I danced with earlier. He has 7 children. His wife has passed on.
7 children? His wife hasn't passed on. She's hiding.
Now he's the wicked thing. Look. She's asleep.
Oh, dear me. I've lost my dance card. I shall swoon.
Your dance card is in your... Oh, yes, you have lost your dance card. You won't know who to dance with next.
If I don't find it, I'll be without an escort for the rest of the evening.
Excuse me, Miss Thomas, but I couldn't help but notice that you were without an escort.
Sadly, yes. My dance card is missing. It may have fallen into the springs and is halfway to the Ohio River by now.
What a difficult situation for you. I hope I would not appear too forward if I were to ask for the pleasure of a second dance. Now, if I would offend you by such a suggestion, then please.
Oh, no, not at all, Mr. Ross. You're simply assisting me in a very awkward situation. Excuse me, Mr. Ross, before we begin, may I ask your opinion about an expression concerning a Greek-speaking woman and a dog that whistles?
I'm afraid you have the upper hand. I'm completely unfamiliar with that particular expression.
Excellent, Mr. Ross.
People, let me take this opportunity to remind us of our mission. Let us remember what we are here to do. Remember victories for humanity. Fair and equal treatment for all. Bettering the human condition. Changing the world. Students of Antioch, we are here to get an education, to hold ourselves up as examples of the highest moral good. And so, an Antiochian more than any other man should... Woman should reserve all of his energy... Right. Her energy for her great work. She
should regulate her diet. She abandons company to seek the refreshment of sleep. She spurns the temptations of any pleasure whose indulgence may abate one jot of her body's vigor. She stands sovereign over herself, holding appetite and sense in subjugation to her will.
Hold those appetites, spurn those temptations.
And so, we must always remember what we are here for. To change the world. For the noble office of improving others. The first step of preparation is self-improvement. Everybody got that?
Mommy, they're here!
They're here! Who is here?
The slaves are come.
Oh no, they're not slaves anymore. They're free now.
I heard the trip was hard. Frightening at times on the train. People got ugly, but we stood our ground with the help of Mr. Conway.
We're glad you're here.
Glad to be here, ma'am.
Fire! Fire! Everybody get the water buckets! Down there on Dayton Street, great big fire! It's the greatest conflagration that has ever visited Yellow Springs, and it's leaving in its track a massive ruin! Fire!
Later! Hurry, get the buckets! We've called Zena and Springfield, but they're coming by train! It'll be at least an hour! Hurry!
Fire! Fire! There's another fire! Everybody get the buckets! This time on Xenia Avenue by Glen Street. And Xenia isn't coming. They refused. They said we need to get our own fire department. Poor old unprotected Yellow Springs.
Unfortunate. Destroyed a lot of property at the turn of the century. Good thing we finally got wise and organized a volunteer fire department. We've still got some good properties left, though. Real estate is always at a premium in Yellow Springs, so grab them up while you still can. Sold some good properties to the Conway colony, and Eliza Gwynn and her husband bought a nice little farm. I gave them a good profit. And here comes another one of my satisfied customers. Big landowner, and I mean big. Good evening, Mr. Gaunt.
Well, isn't this nice? A pleasant evening to you, Mr. Pond, and to you all. But forgive me, I haven't introduced myself. My name is Wheeling Gaunt. As he said, my farm is over yonder. Well, not anymore. I gave it to the village. Eventually, they made it a park. And I am a big landowner. Or rather, I was. But I didn't start out that way. I was born a slave. And do you know the worst thing about it? Wasn't the hard work. Free or slave, I always knew hard work. It wasn't the going without either. Good book says plain as day that it's easier for a camel to pass through the eye of a needle than for a rich man to enter the kingdom of heaven. No, it was the loneliness. That was the hardest of it. You could have children or a mother, father on the next farm, and it would be worth your life to jump a fence and cross a field to be with them. When I bought my freedom and came north to Yellow Springs, I never felt that loneliness again. But I saw it.
Why, all that talk, Mr. Gaunt, The ears off have not been refreshment.
Oh, I'm sure you'd be much better at providing nourishment and hospitality than I could, Mrs. Edwards.
Oh, I'm afraid I can't do that. I didn't know there'd be so many of them. Besides, ever since my dear Frederick passed, I haven't been able to do anything very much.
Excuse me, Mrs. Edwards, but I must admit a carelessness.
A carelessness, Mr. Gaunt. Indeed.
Indeed, ma'am. I was shopping for my supplies today, and I bought an extra pound of flour and sugar.
Well, I must admit, Mr. Gaunt, you do appear to be rather careless with your money.
Indeed, I get rattled with my figures. But I don't want to admit that to the shopkeeper by returning it. I suppose you could find a better use for a pound of sugar and flour than I can.
Waste not, want not.
Thank you. Thank you for saving me the embarrassment of returning them, Miss Edwards.
Well, one good turn deserves another. Have a cookie, Mr. Gaunt. And Merry Christmas.
I read easy, annoying, always be provision for worthy widows such as yourself. That's why I made the endowment for the flour and sugar distribution. It still happens, am I right? I want the village to keep it up. Oh, homeless man, what are you doing here?
Oh, I'm a restless soul, Mr. Grant. I've come to graduation. This is a commencement, is it not? I come every year, and to think, we started in such adversity, and here it still stands.
Oh, it sure does.
I have always said that the purpose of education is to prepare our children to become outstanding citizens, to use the power of the vote wisely, and to govern our country well. The whole land must be watered with the streams of knowledge. And here we are, at Antioch, the Yellow Springs, a place where knowledge bubbles forth and gives respite to all thirsty men.
And women, Mr. Man.
That goes without saying. Yes, Yellow Springs, I may not rest here, but my spirit does. Or at least it tries.
Have a molasses snap, Mr. Man?
Oh, no thank you, dear lady. It has been scientifically proven to my satisfaction that baked goods interfere with the digestion. I only eat natural foods. But I forget myself. I was here to speak to the graduates. If you will excuse me, Mr. Gaunt, I need to finish my address.
Of course, please, continue, Mr. Man.
And so, young ladies and gentlemen of the graduating class, after journeying together for so many years on our passage through life, we are about to part. I cannot go with you, but I can enshrine my spirit in your hearts, transfer my enthusiasm into your young and athletic frames, and I beseech you to treasure up in your hearts these my parting words.
I must admit to you all, I'm feeling a little bit confused.
I've been to Venice.
Florence, the hill towns, Rome, Naples, and Capri.
Jerusalem and Cairo. Took a steamer up the Nile to view the Aswan Dam.
Milan was next.
Then Genoa.
But there is one place I can rest, and it is here.
I'm beginning to think that I've joined my dear Frederick in heaven.
Oh, spirits, Mrs. Edwards, nothing to be alarmed at.
You know us, Mrs. Edwards. If you know Yellow Springs, you know us all.
It's Helen. Helen Birch Bartlett. Why, your father named the Glen for you.
The earth smells old and warm and mellow, and all things lie at ease. I too serenely lie here under the wide oak tree, and all the splendid flight of hours of blue place I can rest, and it is here. There is one place I can rest, and it is here.
Well, you keep it.
Hello. Yes, Arthur Morgan here. I was calling because I was hoping to persuade you to come do your research here at Antioch. I believe you'll find it an advantageous place to develop your ideas about... Where is Antioch? Here in Yellow Springs, Ohio. Yes, I see. I'm afraid I'm going to have to disagree with you on that point. In fact, I assure you that one visit to our campus will change your mind. One glimpse of Yellow Springs will be all you need. What's it like? It's quite reminiscent of New England. We're located in the southwestern part of the state, 20 miles east of Dayton, only 10 miles south of Springfield, just 60 miles north of Cincinnati, and the same distance west of Columbus. None of that means anything to you. I see. Well, may I be so bold as to ask you a question then? What does the word community mean to you? Community. Community. Man does not live by bread alone, you know. We are social animals, my friend. But the idea of community is older than man. His closest relatives, the apes, live in community. Man evolved in and for community. His speech organs were developed in and by society. He could dispense a body fur because social tradition kept alive the knowledge of clothes. Forgive me. I do tend to get carried away. My point is, of course, you can't just be a cog in the machine. There has to be involvement. We are small. I know, I don't deny that. But a great community seeks excellence rather than size. It aims at full, well-portioned life for its members and vital relations with the wide world. We have the potential here, in this little village, to build a community that is both industrious and visionary. Why am I telling you all this? But surely you understand, so that hopefully you will join us. Your research will flourish, I have no doubt, and you will help to build a great community. One that is not invented or discovered, but one that is forged from the quality of the lives men live in. It sounds as though I may have persuaded you. Good. Good, you won't regret it, you'll see. There is no comparison to the convenience of living. Many hours are saved from commuting. We have everything you want. Churches, first-rate schools, Boys and Girl Scout clubs. The only disadvantage is that as of yet there is no photostat machine. Wonderful. We look forward to you joining the faculty of Antioch College and being a part of our scientific, intellectual, and entrepreneurial endeavor.
Ideas are like water, they flow.
Photosynthesis research.
Ideas are like water, they flow.
Human development research.
One leads to another like streams to a river. Of course they know.
Aluminum
Ideas are like water, they flow.
Stopwatches.
Ideas are like flowers, they bloom.
Radio recording instruments.
Ideas are like flowers, they bloom.
Thermostat design.
They start from the seed, they can look like a weed. Ideas are like flowers, they bloom. Ideas are like water, they flow. Ideas are like water, they flow.
Watering cells.
They follow their own logic, they seek their own level, they make things grow. Ideas are like water, they flow.
Lost wax cast
are like birds and they fly.
Gunpowder.
Ideas are like trees growing high.
A successful nursery.
Ideas are like water. Ideas are like water.
Rose.
Ideas are like water. They flow.
Real trees. Eureka.
Hello. Lucy.
Yes?
This is Irene Hawes.
Oh, hello.
Now, I've been asked to give you a call and put you on a party line with some other women from town to talk about Yellow Springs history.
Oh, that sounds lovely. Who are they?
Well, I have Jean Trolander and Jean Barlow Hudson.
Well, you'll have to refresh my memory, Irene. I don't remember.
Well, Jean Hudson was the mayor of Yellow Springs for a while.
Oh.
And Jean Trolander, well, she was like a mayor too. She put together the Women's Park. And she's been an activist for all kinds of causes.
Lovely.
I also have Pat Matthews Howard. Now, she wrote a column in the Yellow Springs News called Chat with Pat. Pat, are you there?
Now, if you want me to talk, I'll talk. I have lots to say.
Oh, I know you do, Pat. But hold on a minute, I want to do it in order.
Just what kind of order do you mean, Irene? Order of importance?
Oh, no, Pat. Time. Chronological order, if you don't mind.
Oh, that's all right, I suppose. Just so long as I get to say what I want to say.
All right. So, Lucy,
Yes.
you start out. You're kind of kicking off the 20th century.
Well, it was 1919. Frederick came home one day saying he'd been made trustee of Antioch College. I never heard of it, did thee? We speak to each other in the Quaker way, you know. A few weeks later, Frederick and I drove out to take a look at it, and his remark at the time was, "It looks dead enough to do anything I want with." Frederick and I had been dreaming for years of an educational institution which would combine practical work and cultural studies. Oh, wonderful. Arthur tried to find someone to be president, but he ended up doing it himself.
Don't just talk about Arthur, Lucy. You did a whole lot for this town and Antioch. Don't forget.
Well, if it hadn't been for Arthur.
You made Rockford Chapel. You got the Glen for the college.
Well, not entirely.
Why don't you tell us that story, Lucy?
Yes, please, Lucy, go ahead.
Well, probably the most picturesque experience of my life was finding Mr. Taylor Birch. Yes.
Now, who is he again?
Now, he's the man that bought the Glen and gave it to Antioch.
Did somebody say something?
Oh, no, go ahead, Lucy, go ahead.
Oh, okay. Well, in February 1919, Sarah Chambers and I decided we were too deep in ruts. I bought a little two-door sedan, and Harris Peckham, an Antioch student, made it over so we could sleep in it. Off we went to Florida. Professor Inman told me about a wealthy man who had all but graduated in 1869 and might be able to help the college out. Nobody had ever had any luck with him, but I could try. We drove up to his house along a lonesome, rutty road, and there he came pulling up behind us. Said I, "Could this be Mr. Birch?" Said he, "Could this be Mrs. Morgan? I've been looking for you for days." We were made completely at home. And as luck would have it, both Sarah Chambers and I are truly interested in plants and living things, and neither of us is afraid of walking in wild places. That little fact probably won Mr. Birch for Antioch, yes it did.
See, Lucy, I want to honor you at the Women's Park, alongside the bike path and the Glen. A place to honor women.
Oh, by the way, Jean, are you a Quaker?
I am definitely not a Quaker.
That's fine.
There is a spring I shall remember. There is a place I cannot forget. There is a June so far, so young, so tender, that I can see and taste the day.
Oh, that's lovely. Who just said that?
Oh, that was Jean Hudson, the mayor. Remember?
Oh, yes. Jean, are you a Quaker?
No, I am a poet and an activist. I'm a member of the Coalition for Survival Against Nuclear War. Oh, now that's a piece of history. Why don't you go ahead and tell us that story, Jean? Sure. Oh, wait a minute, ladies. There's another call coming in.
Irene?
Hello?
Irene?
Yes.
This is Caroline Urey.
Oh, it's Caroline Drury. Now, she was anti-war way before it was at all popular. Go ahead, Caroline.
Hello, ladies.
Yes.
Hello, ladies.
Hello. Yes.
There's something I want you to think about for a minute.
What?
Okay. Taxes.
Taxes?
I want you to think about not
paying them. I myself have decided that I can no longer contribute to our government's war efforts. I wrote to President Truman. I said, war and the preparation for war in the atomic age is a crime against humanity. Yes. As a Christian, as a Quaker, yes, as a religious and conscientious objector against the whole institution of war, I can no longer contribute henceforth in any way whatsoever.
Good for you, Caroline. That goes with what I've been saying about simple living. Stop driving, that's what I say. Ride a bicycle.
Who is she talking to?
Irene, is it my turn yet?
Oh, ladies, Pat wants to speak to you on the party line. You go ahead, Pat.
Thank you. There's some things we need to get out on the table right away. First of all, we're being written out of the history of Yellow Springs. And that has as much to do with us not talking as it does with people not wanting to hear it.
Who are you talking about, Pat?
African Americans. We're being written out.
Oh, we're listening now, Pat. Go ahead.
Yes, now. Well, as you may or may not know, Wheeling God built several houses in town. One is for sale now, as a matter of fact. Well, he was a slave. Not many people knew he was a slave until I started digging things up. Why, my own ancestral line dates back to Thomas Jefferson. Did you know that the golf course was owned by a black lady named Julia Walker?
Really?
Mm-hmm. And the houses were bought up by Arthur Morgan for the college from black families, and not at great prices either.
Well, I'm sure they found new homes in other parts of town to live in.
Oh, no, now, not necessarily, you see. I was one of the first black people to move in on Pleasant Street. Why, the day we moved in, 2 women came up the driveway and just stood there with their hands on their hips. They were mad, but there was nothing they could do about it. We were moving in.
Come on, sister.
Well, that is a new development. Yellow Springs has always been.
Oh, now, if you'll excuse me, Lucy. I seem to remember it was your husband, Arthur, who denied entrance to Antioch to a black student. He said he was unable to place a student in a co-op job.
Oh, my dear Miss Pat, I'm afraid you're mistaken. I don't recall anything of the kind.
Now, you may not remember, but it did happen.
Pat?
Yes?
It's May. It's
May?
Wing. Now, Pat, calm down. There's lots of ways to make a difference, but being so blunt about it isn't always the best way. How about the goods exchange? Remember, during the Depression, lots of little girls needed a nice new dress to wear to school. Well, I went around and I put those dresses on the doorknobs overnight. My kids outgrew those clothes. They didn't need them. And I like to pass things on. I mended them, I ironed them, and I gave them to someone else who really needed them.
That is so sweet.
Now, I hate to be disrespectful, May, but I have to say that Arthur Morgan and the college are trying to design a town for a certain kind of people. And those kind of people are college people.
Oh, no.
Now,
Yes,
Pat,
yes.
it's Hilda.
Hi.
And I'm kind of with May on this one. We have to stick together. Now, I try to visit with everybody. Make friends with everybody. Say hello to everybody. We have to stick together. There are bigger things in the college that are going to change our beautiful town.
Like what?
Malls.
Malls?
Oh my goodness, have you been over to Beaver Creek?
Yes.
We've been to that often. They were trying to parcel out Whitehall Farm. We all got together to make sure that didn't happen.
That's right.
This is a good example of what Hilda is talking about.
Yes, it is.
We need to tell people this.
That's right.
We're a small town and we want to stay that way.
Yeah.
Oh, excuse me, ladies. Another call coming in. Irene? Yes? This is Virginia. I have something to say. Oh, ladies, it's Virginia Hamilton. I wanted to share a story with you. I have very clear childhood memories of being in the African American Methodist Episcopal Church in Yellow Springs. I'm in a pew between my mother, who is plump, and elderly Miss Wing.
Hi, Virginia. How are you?
Fine. I rest my head on Miss Wing so I can be close to her scent of violets. She pats my knee. Mother says, sit up straight. Shh. Don't make a sound. Father rises from his pew and sits in a carved wooden chair facing the congregation. With his mandolin in hand, he begins playing a classical piece.
Oh, and he played beautifully. I think your father had the only mandolin in Yellow Springs.
Yes, he did.
I know none of my uncles had one. I believe Father made up his music the way I make up my stories. You know he led mandolin groups across America between 1902 and 1905. His groups were integrated with black and white males and females.
Good for him.
Always when Dad played, I could hear his voice telling me stories. He spoke of grand places. He lived in Calgary, Banff, and Edmonton while working on the Canadian Transcontinental Railroad. He painted a vivid picture of the last great gatherings of the High Plains Native Americans, of ballrooms filled with twirling dancers, and of the great cities of the North.
Sounds fascinating.
I'll always remember the words. You see, Dad believed the more a child like myself knew about life and the world, the better prepared she would be for what might be coming.
Well, learn about the world. That's what I tell my kids.
While Mother's stories were about her side of the family, the Perry clan.
Oh, the Perry clan.
My father's lessons taught me to look out and around, looking for America. My parents' stories taught me a sense of community. I learned the equal worth of people and to care for the Earth's environment. Now that's the kind of history that's meaningful to me. They've determined the types of books that I write.
Beautiful books. Eloquent books.
Important books.
Thank you, ladies. And so, let us always remember, we live in Yellow Springs, but we live in America. We live in the world.
Excuse me, ladies, but it's time for us to end this party line. But let's stay in touch, shall we?
Yes, definitely.
Goodbye.
Goodbye. Goodbye.
Especially if you don't care to live where everybody looks just like you. Yes, it's a pretty bad situation. Now, you know, I had a friend that tried to move into Fair Acres, and you heard what happened to her.
What?
Oh, the realtor got bomb threats.
And the windows of the house all smashed.
All over the place. Yes, yes. Oh, there are people right here that would do that.
It's like when you want to get a job. I wanted a job this summer, but I didn't go downtown to try because I didn't want to be refused. So I applied at places where I knew I wouldn't be discriminated against, like the Antioch Inn.
Well, you know, I don't know. I think a person should apply wherever they want to work. I mean, sometimes people are wrong about what they think is going on. Sometimes people think that they're being discriminated against when they really aren't. You know, this is a small town.
Oh, that's right. You know, just because a place has never had or doesn't have a Negro doesn't mean that they discriminate.
Oh, really? Then what does it mean? Let me tell you about the bank. Yes, the bank. The bank. Oh. That place really makes me mad. I hate the bank. My friend tried to get a job there, and the bank manager said, now, you come back for an interview. Come on back now for an interview. You see, you need. Exactly. Was that fooling anybody? But you know, that's what I like about Gedner. Oh, no.
What? You like Gedner?
Well, now, he is honest about his prejudice. Yeah? And let's remember, we're only a few miles from the Mason-Dixon line here.
But he refuses to cut people's hair, and that's disgusting.
Yeah.
I thought he was a sore thumb of your, the community.
Well, now, Gedner is a hard nut to crack. Yes, yes.
But he's looking here to come around.
Say that. say
How?
you put them out of business. Oh, see, I like that idea.
I don't know if that's possible, though. I mean, people don't care that much.
Are you kidding? People are up in arms. Oh, really? And anyway, all that I'm saying is that we have got to do something together.
Exactly.
Yes. What do you think?
Are there more things to worry about besides gang rape?
Oh, yes. There's housing, there's jobs.
Yes.
But you know what? If there wasn't discrimination in those areas, Igna wouldn't have raised. That's right.
We have to get militant, get the students in here, and get tough on it.
Oh, yeah, see, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to get militant out
I think you should calm down. I mean, this could get out of hand. This could get out of control.
These things, they take time. You have to grow with it. I mean, what do you people want anyway?
We want Yellow Springs to be exactly what it says it is. Bodies down.
This afternoon, we were returning to Yellow Springs after a morning in Dayton. Just as we arrived in Xenia, we heard a news flash over the local radio station. It stated, a group of rowdies from Antioch College have assaulted a policeman and incited riots in front of Gangner's barbershop. When we arrived on Xenia Avenue, the demonstrators sitting with locked arms were being pushed down by fire hoses. A cold rain beginning only a minute before had not yet cleared the air of tear gas. A group of Springfield police called in by the Greene County Sheriff threw the gas bombs without authorization. They were directed upon a group of spectators consisting not only of students but also of elderly citizens and small children. There were nearly 500 demonstrators. The police were instructed to use riot control. We agreed amongst ourselves to move back once the police had gotten to within 10 feet of our line. But the police moved slowly forward, pushing and kicking people out of the way. A Yellow Springs citizen, upon seeing an unresisting demonstrator pushed to the ground by a Springfield policeman, pulled the officer away from the bleeding boy and tried to place the policeman under citizen's arrest. He was arrested for obstructing justice. By this time, the police had gotten to within 15 feet of our line. They had reached an elderly couple, both well into the 70s, who were standing resolutely in the middle of the avenue. They charged on the elderly couple, and the chain behind them began moving slowly backwards. Only the elderly couple was not fast enough for the steel hat in line, and the police struck them to the ground and marched over them. We sang America as we slowly retreated. A nice 6 lane separated us from the police line. We traded step for a surrendered step up Xenia Avenue for 30 feet or more. Yet we knew that our passiveness had been defeated by legalized violence. We turned our back on the sheriff's line and walked slowly and cold to our left.
For war in the atomic age is a crime against humanity. As a conscientious objector to the whole institution of organized war, we must revolt against legalized violence. We must revolt against legalized violence. End the draft.
End the draft. Dump 2.
Dump 2. U.S. troops out of Vietnam.
U.S. troops out of Vietnam.
U.S. troops out of Vietnam.
U.S. troops out of Vietnam!
What do we want?
Peace!
When do we want it?
Now!
What do we want?
Peace!
When do we want it?
Now! All we are saying is give peace a chance. All we are saying is give peace a chance.
Elvis is pro-choice!
Elvis is pro-choice!
1973! The college must keep its promises to new direction students. The college must make good on its promises. We demand that the Board of Trustees make a contract to put it in writing. That's right! A contract that they will honor to each new direction student. to pay them the aid they have promised for the whole 4 years.
I recognize news. There's pandemonium here at Antioch College. There is a picket line that appears, and I'm going to talk to some students and see what's going on. Excuse me, ma'am. Are you a student? What's going on here?
We're on strike.
Ooh, could you give us details of the strike?
The college is trying to rip us off.
Ooh, do you have any words, sir?
This is a class struggle.
Come on, people, we tell this pig they must build a barricade right now!
Hey, I know you. Did you used to live in my hall?
I don't know. Are you A-div or B-div? I was A-div, but I switched my sequence so I could go to bed.
I'm B-div.
You do look familiar.
You want to dance?
Sure. What kind of dancing is this?
It's contact improv. Never taught it to me. It's all about contact and improvisation. You know what I mean?
I think so. Sure feels good.
That's not what it's for. Not in that way. I mean, it's all about anybody can do it. You know? Do you know what this strike is all about?
Yeah, the college said they were going to give scholarships to the New Directions students, but then the college took it back. Pigs!
Pigs? It sure is fun.
Come on, people, we don't have time for this touchy-feely stuff. This is real. This is war. A war against lies, a war against privilege, a class war.
There is no class. Classes are canceled.
Yeah.
That's right. We're on strike. No more walls. Up against the wall. Tear down the wall.
No more walls. No more walls. No more walls.
We won. We won. We won.
Where did everybody go?
Hello? Oh, nothing. Just hanging around. I'm in front of Weaver's.
It's Tom's.
Anyway, I was by the parking lot by the booth and just sitting there. I might cross the street, get a coffee at Dino's, sit on the bench in front of the senior center. You want to meet me? What are you doing?
Oh, nothing. Well, I'm at home with Hyacinth. Well, we're just hanging out.
Hey, you want to meet at the Tasty Freeze?
Yeah, the breeze, that sounds.
Hey, we can't. It's closed, remember?
Yeah, it's closed.
Well, we could go next year.
Do you want to go to the library?
Library?
Library? You mean books? You can't even bring food in there.
Yeah, forget the library.
Well, how about the movies?
The movies?
The movies, word. Let's go. What time do they start?
What time does it start?
Well, 7 o'clock.
7. Well, what time is it now?
It's 11 a.m.
Well, why did we get up so early?
Sleeping.
What are we going to do?
So what are we going to do?
What are we going to do?
What are we going to do?
What are we gonna do on a Saturday morning in Yellow Springs? We're so bored, can't think of anything. There's nothing exciting about Yellow Springs. What about skateboards?
That's boring.
We can watch TV.
That's boring. Let's get some ice cream.
That is. Let's see if we can all agree.
Let's go to the Glen.
Tourists.
What about the bike path?
Tourists.
What about downtown?
Tourists. Tourists. Tourists.
There ain't a corner we can hang out
There ain't a stop we can say please upon. The boredom comes and it lasts and lasts. We're so bored, we can't think of anything. There's nothing exciting about Yellow Spring. There's nothing exciting about Yellow Spring. Yellow Spring, Yellow Spring.
Yellow Springs News. Yellow Springs, Ohio. Thursday,
You don't stop. Work it out, baby. Never boogie back, bang, boogie to the boogie beat. Well, what you hear is not a test. Stop with the beat. And me, the groove, and my friends are gonna try to hit your feet. You see, I am one of my men. I like to say hello. To the left, to the right, the red, and the brown, the purple, and yellow. But first, I got bang, bang, the boogie to the boogie. Say, up, jump the boogie to the bang, bang, boogie to the rock. You don't stop, rock the rhythm, that'll make your body rock. Well, so far you've heard my voice, but I brought two friends along. And next on the mic is my man Hank. Come on and sing that song. Check it out, I'm up the hill, the ladies build, the women fight for my delight. But I'm the grand master with the PMCs that shock the house for the young ladies. And when you come inside, into the front, you do the freak bang, and do the bumping with the sucker MCs. Try to prove a point with your skill, but with the serious turn from sun to sun and from day to day. I sit down and make my brand new rhyme, because to say that miracles never cease. I've created a devastating masterpiece. I'm gonna rock the mic till you can't resist. Everybody!
One of the choicest pieces of real estate you'll find anywhere in the world. We've got everything. Are you tired of the rat race? You want some peace and quiet in a beautiful setting? Thinking about retirement, or at least slowing down? Do you want to raise your kids in a safe place? Do you have pets? Kids? Old folks at home? Teenagers?
Yeah.
Do you like to work out of your own home? Or near your home? Do you like to work at all? No? Then this is the place for you. Come and see the little town that time forgot, or tries to forget. Or better yet, the little town that tries to forget time, or at least can't keep track of it. But don't take my word for it. We have some audio-visual aids, so let's roll some film, look at some slides, and hear from the people who live here.
So, as we wrap up here, I'd like to think about a phrase or an image that will describe Yellow Springs and for you personally, and what you'd like it to be, how you see it changing in the future. Anyone would like to start with that question? Where do you see Yellow Springs going?
Made a statement in terms of the land around here. People may not think the land is important, but there's 1,000 acres that this town and particular people got together and saved it from development. It's now in the Tecumseh Land Trust, and so that this little town has sort of helped other people see that you can put land in the land trust. It's sort of counterintuitive to the capitalist system, but I think it's the way to go.
My greatest concern is that we continue to have the celebration of diversity. I feel that if you don't figure ways to lower whatever it is, this climb in terms of money, so that young people who have children who could bring them into the community and help us expand and grow can be here, then I have some concern for the community, because I don't want to be in a community where there aren't a crossing of all kinds of people like you. And if we don't address that issue, that's what the services to the children. Because kids need to have an opportunity to interrelate with all sorts of people. I've taught children forever, and I know the importance. So you have to give them the skills. So not to have that come into the town is very unfair to our children. Me, all of us.
It's important to teach respect, and that's what it...
As a teacher, you knew that. I mean, as an educator. Yeah. Well, and it's so true. We are trying desperately to save this wonderful farmland. On the other hand, there's a push to whether our village should grow, how much we can open it for male people coming in, and at the same time finding that it's a very expensive place in which young people have to raise their children. So we have a lot of things that have to be decided by us and by those coming after us. And that's why it's really wonderful to have this kind of a forum with our friends.
Well, I've always said Yellow Springs is sort of like an oasis, and I just hope somehow all the numbers and the people and the development, somehow it all balances out and we continue to have this great oasis.
When we were talking about the diversity and all these things, certainly everybody here has done something, and I think what Faith is doing is one of the really landmarks in the current scene.
What's up?
We've had to try to do a lot of stuff that focus on you, so we do that program. We do Guess Who's Coming to Dinner, so that people can interrelate with each other and get to know people that you don't know. And one of the final things that we do, or we'll be doing in September, is the Blues Festival Bazaar. And what that is a whole educational package to teach about and to keep legacies alive, people's legacies alive, and to have a chance for people to learn. And so you learn about each other. The more you learn about each other, the more likely we can live together, and a lot of this craziness can just go.
And the more victories for humanity that we can win.
Yes, I would emphasize what Faith just said in terms of the young people. We haven't done well in terms of having space where they can be themselves. We don't have a center for young people. We need that. So, Horace, do what you can to bring some of that to Yellow Springs.
Well, I brought the college. I don't know if I could do much more than that.
Well, thank you for doing that.
Since you've been here, we're all afraid to die until we've done something for humanity. So thank you.
It's important. Thank you.
2003.
Our story is like a spring. We know where it begins.
The end is still to come.
Thank you.